You just can't scroll through the news these days without bumping into artificial intelligence or machine learning, deep learning. It's like these terms are absolutely everywhere.
They really are.
But what do they actually, mean for you, the listener? Let's take a closer look.
Yeah, definitely. So in this deep dive, we're going to try and unpack these core ideas: artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning.
Okay.
Our aim here is really to explain these, well, pretty powerful technologies
Yeah.
in a way that's hopefully straightforward, easy to get your head around no matter your background.
Right. No jargon overload.
Exactly. We want you to finish up here with a clearer picture of what these terms are, maybe some idea of where this tech is heading, and crucially, why it matters to you.
And to help us get a handle on all this, we're leaning on a really interesting discussion we found. It was between an AI researcher and an expert on the societal side of AI ethics and policy.
Yeah, they did a great job breaking down some complex stuff.
Which is just what we need. Okay, so let's dive in. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, they sound connected, but they're not exactly the same, are they? Where do we even start untangling these?
Well, a good place to start is probably with artificial intelligence itself, AI. Think of AI as the really broad umbrella idea.
Okay. The big picture.
Right. The concept of creating machines that can do tasks that, normally need human intelligence.
Like what sort of tasks?
Things like figuring stuff out, making decisions, learning from past experience, solving problems. It's really about trying to give machines abilities that mimic how humans think.
So AI is the overall goal, making machines seem smart.
Precisely. Now, machine learning, or ML, that's a specific way we try to achieve artificial intelligence.
How does that work then?
Well, instead of a programmer writing out every single instruction step by step with machine learning, we kind of teach the machine to learn from data.
Learn from data, how?
Okay, imagine you want a computer system to recognize pictures of cats.
Right.
With machine learning, you'd show it thousands, maybe millions, of pictures already labeled cat. And over time, by processing all these examples, the system starts to spot patterns. It learns what a cat generally looks like on its own. You don't explicitly tell it, look for pointy ears, look for whiskers. It figures that out from the data.
That makes sense. So it's like learning by seeing lots of examples.
Exactly. And then you've got deep learning, or DL. This is, let's say, a more advanced, more complex type of machine learning.
More advanced how?
It uses something called artificial neural networks. These are computer systems loosely inspired by the structure of the human brain, with lots of interconnected layers that process information.
Inspired by the brain? Wow.
Yeah, and deep learning turns out to be really, really good at handling very complex types of data. Things like recognizing specific faces in photos, understanding nuances in spoken language, or even translating between languages quite fluently.
Okay, so I think I'm getting the layers now. AI is the big field.
Right.
Machine learning is a method within AI teaching from data.
And deep learning is a specific, powerful technique within machine learning using those neural networks.
You've got it. Maybe think of it like AI is the entire toolbox for making intelligent machines. Machine learning is a specific set of power tools in that box.
And deep learning.
Deep learning is like a very sophisticated, multifunctional power tool within that set. Good for specific, complex jobs.
That helps. That's a good way to think about it.
And a really crucial thing to remember here, even though we use words like learn or understand, these systems aren't thinking or feeling like humans do.
Right. They're not conscious.
No. They are incredibly sophisticated pattern-matching machines. They find correlations and structures in the vast amounts of data they're trained on. That's where their power comes from.
Which leads to an important point you raised earlier.
Yeah.
About bias, right?
Exactly. This is critical. If the data we use to train these systems contains biases, maybe reflects historical discrimination or skewed perspectives,
then the AI will learn those biases. It absolutely can, yes. It learns from the data it sees. So if the data reflects societal biases, the AI often ends up amplifying them. It could be like holding up a mirror to society, warts and all.
Yeah, that's a really important thing to keep in mind. So, okay, looking ahead then, where is this technology taking us? What kind of future are we looking at? Where do you see AI making really big waves soon?
Well, one massive area, and we're already seeing this, is healthcare. It's going to keep growing.
How so?
For instance, AI systems are getting better and better at analyzing medical images, like X-rays or CT scans. They can potentially help doctors spot signs of diseases, maybe even earlier than a human eye might catch them.
Wow.
And there's also huge potential in genetics. AI could help predict risks for certain inherited conditions by sifting through enormous genetic data sets, looking for subtle patterns.
That really could change lives. Amazing potential. Are there other big shifts happening?
Another really interesting development is something called Edge AI.
Edge AI, what's that?
It basically means doing the AI processing right on the device itself, rather than sending data off to some distant server, in the cloud.
Oh, like on your phone?
No.
Or a security camera?
Okay, your smartphone, smart speakers, maybe even appliances.
I can see the advantage there. It'd be faster, presumably.
Much faster, potentially.
Yeah.
Because the thinking happens locally, right there. No delay sending data back and forth.
It may be safer, too, privacy-wise.
That's a huge part of the appeal, yes.
Yeah.
If sensitive data, like, say, facial recognition data from your smart doorbell, doesn't have to leave your house to be processed.
Then it feels more secure.
Right. Can improve speed and privacy.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine your doorbell recognizing a family member instantly without sending their image anywhere. That's the idea.
That's a really clear example. Okay, so as this tech gets more powerful, more embedded, what about us? What skills or, understanding should people be thinking about developing? We don't all need to become programmers, do we?
No, definitely not. But cultivating what you might call basic data literacy, or maybe just data awareness, is becoming super valuable.
Data awareness. Meaning?
Just understanding that these AI systems we interact with every day, they're built on data. Having a general sense of, okay, where does data come from? Is it reliable? Could it be biased? That kind of questioning.
So just being a bit more conscious that data is the fuel here.
Precisely. And again, you don't need to know the coding details, but having a high-level grasp of the basic process data goes in, the AI processes it, some kind of decision or prediction comes out that really helps demystify it all.
Makes it less like magic.
Exactly. And what about those classic human skills? Critical thinking, creativity, empathy. Do they still matter in an AI world?
That's a great question.
And the answer is absolutely yes,
Sure.
Probably more than ever.
Really? Why more?
Because those are the things AI, at least for now, is not very good at. Critical thinking, asking the why behind the data, genuine creativity that comes from lived experience, understanding human emotions, connecting with people. These remain fundamentally human strengths.
That's reassuring, actually.
Yeah, the ability to analyze deeply, to innovate in truly novel ways, to build relationships, those skills will be highly prized.
Good to hear. It's not all about the machines, then.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's pivot slightly. Let's talk pros and cons. What are the big upsides? The advantages AI brings?
Well, efficiency is a huge one. AI can automate repetitive or complex tasks, often doing them faster, more accurately, and, 24/7 without getting tired.
Right, freeing up humans for other things.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
It can lead to big productivity gains in all sorts of industries.
Makes sense. What else is a major plus?
Innovation, I'd say.
Yeah.
We're seeing AI tools sparking creativity in unexpected ways.
How so?
Think about things like DALL-E or ChatGPT, tools that generate images or text from prompts. They're being used by artists, writers, designers,
Yeah.
not necessarily to replace them, but as new tools to explore ideas, to augment their own creativity.
Yeah, those image generators are everywhere. It's amazing what they can do. So AI as a creative partner, almost.
In a sense, yes, a powerful assistant for exploring new possibilities. And another potential upside is sustainability.
Sustainability. How does AI help there?
Well, AI can be used to optimize complex systems, like energy grids, to reduce waste. It can help monitor environmental changes, predict natural disasters, even aid conservation efforts by tracking wildlife, for example.
Okay, lots of potential benefits. Now, on the flip side, the disadvantages or risks. What keeps people up at night?
Well, you touched on data earlier, and privacy is a massive concern for many.
The sheer amount of data being collected.
Exactly. Many AI systems, especially those run by big tech companies, rely on vast amounts of our personal data. How that's collected, how it's used, who profits from it. These are huge questions about privacy and control.
Definitely something we all need to be more aware of. What else?
Discrimination is another major risk. We talked about bias in the training data.
Right, the mirror to society idea.
Yes, and when that biased data leads to biased AI decisions, it can have really harmful real-world consequences. Think about facial recognition systems used in law enforcement that have been shown to be less accurate for people of color, for example.
Yeah, that's incredibly serious, leading to wrongful accusations.
Potentially, yes. Or AI used in hiring that screens out qualified candidates based on biased patterns it learned from past data. The potential for reinforcing inequality is unfortunately quite high if we're not careful.
So how do we navigate this? How do we get the benefits while managing these risks? Is it about rules and regulations?
Regulation is definitely part of the conversation, yes. But it's complex. Some things that experts suggest are crucial include, well, first, having diverse teams building these AI systems.
Different perspectives matter.
Hugely. People from different backgrounds, different disciplines, asking different questions. That can help spot potential harms early on.
Okay, diverse teams. What else?
Rigorous testing. Really putting these systems through their paces before they're deployed in the real world, especially in high-stakes areas like healthcare or criminal justice. Trying to anticipate unintended consequences.
Makes sense. Test, test, test.
And yes, then there's formal regulation. We're seeing moves like the EU's AI Act, which tries to categorize AI systems by risk level.
High-risk AI gets more scrutiny.
That's the idea. Identifying systems that could significantly impact people's rights or safety and demanding stricter checks, transparency, and human oversight for those.
It sounds like a necessary step, but probably complicated to implement.
Very complicated. Defining risk, keeping up with the technology.
Yeah.
It's a huge challenge. Okay, so looking even further ahead, what genuinely excites you about where AI could go?
Oh, good question. For me, I think it's the potential to tackle some really big global problems.
Like what?
Things like climate change modeling, finding new materials, maybe developing new medicines faster, or even optimizing food production to help with shortages, using that massive analytical power for global good.
Yeah, that's definitely exciting. The potential for scientific discovery is huge.
Yeah.
And also maybe increasing access to education and information for people everywhere.
That too. Personalized learning, instant translation, lots of possibilities there. Now, the flip side again, what are the big concerns looking forward? What are people genuinely worried about?
Well, one that comes up a lot is the use of AI in warfare, particularly the idea of autonomous weapons systems.
Weapons that can make kill decisions without a human in the loop.
Exactly. That raises profound ethical and legal questions about accountability and control. It's a major international concern.
Understandably, that sounds terrifying.
It is a serious worry. Another concern is the potential for increased surveillance. As AI gets better at analyzing video, audio, online behavior.
It could lead to much more pervasive monitoring.
Yes. The risk is a chilling effect on freedom, autonomy, and dissent if people feel constantly watched and analyzed by AI systems, whether run by governments or corporations.
Right. A loss of personal freedom. Okay, so quite a lot to think about there.
Definitely.
So just to kind of wrap up our chat here, we've talked about artificial intelligence being that big overarching goal of intelligent machines.
Right, the umbrella term.
Then machine learning is that key method where machines learn patterns from data.
Learning by example.
And deep learning is that more advanced technique, using those brain-inspired neural networks for really complex stuff like images and language.
Got it.
We also touched on how AI is changing things like healthcare, the rise of edge AI for speed and privacy.
And the importance of skills like data awareness, critical thinking, creativity. The human stuff still matters, maybe more than ever.
Absolutely. And we weighed up some pros like efficiency and innovation.
And potential for sustainability.
Against the cons like privacy risks and the danger of algorithmic bias and discrimination.
And the need for careful development, testing, and probably some smart regulation, too.
It's definitely a technology with incredible promise, but also one that comes with, well, some serious homework for all of us, doesn't it? We need to think carefully as it evolves.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It requires ongoing attention and critical engagement from everyone.
Well, thank you so much for walking us through all that. It's been really insightful.
My pleasure. Glad to chat about it.
And thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the world of AI, machine learning, and deep learning. As these technologies weave themselves more and more into our daily fabric, just taking a bit of time to understand the basics, like we tried to do today, is, we think, a really worthwhile step.
Hopefully it's helped clarify things a bit.
We hope so, too. So here's a final thought to maybe chew on after listening. As AI becomes even more integrated into our lives, how can we as individuals make sure our own voices, our values, are actually reflected in how this technology is developed and used? Something to think about.
Great question.
Thanks again for tuning in to The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time for another look beneath the surface of something important.